saw this on poll. Oldest trick in the book. You know, it's the rabbi putting the swastika on the synagogue. You know, one anon pointed out rightly that black people are not going to go into a cemetery at night. It's like, do you know black people? They're kind of pushing this story off a little bit, but it's still going on. In the past, people have tried to, well, they talked about, wouldn't it be great if we could get them to understand the JQ? Because they would be really mad if they knew what had been done to them, you know, over the years. But I think it's hard when, I mean, because they have white skin too. So it's like they just think it's some kind of white trickery or something. Like, so it's good that finally one of their own people, who you calling their own people? When their own people said, hey, these guys are up to no good. And they're really mad because, you know, they think they have a stranglehold on business or whatever's going on with ye, you know. I don't even think they know the stuff that's been done to them. I mean, someone should learn about the North Atlantic slave trade, which had nothing to do with slaves, by the way. The logistics of that is silly. It's not practical. But again, I mentioned this the other night. There's some things that I just don't, I'm not ready to quite drop truth pills on quite yet. If I see someone else do it, then I'll do it. I'm kind of a pussy like that. I don't want to lose my channel. But yeah, so what I'm saying is I'm a follower, not a leader. But it's crazy to see this go on. It's like all this time, you know, all this time these guys are finally like waking up to this, and they're not, I don't think, going to be placated as easily as, you know, everyone else has been throughout the years. You know, white people is, I hate the term white people. Like I went on this thing the other night about how that white people, there are no white people. We've always identified as our nationalities, you know, invisible to people. You know, I'm Irish, blah, 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 different people, different things. No one refers themselves as white, but people with white skin, I guess, to say it, are a little bit too polite when it comes to this stuff, I guess. Like, the people that know what the deal is, we talk about it amongst ourselves, but there's nothing you can really do about it. I mean, it's the entire system, you know. And also, those people are just a small part of a much larger problem. But black people, they're like going ham on this. They're not having any of it. And it's just so fun to watch for a lot of us. It's just like, yes, good. You know, take that. So, because once they get into an idea, as we've seen throughout history, or they get behind something, they usually don't back down on it. You know, we've seen that. And sometimes it can be bad. In this case, it's good. It's just so fun to watch. It's so fun to watch because here's a group that these people thought, here's a group that, no, it's a group of people they thought they had under their control. These people to them are just golems, you know, who have been activated throughout history to do their work for them. I know it's getting confusing because I can't say who's who, but basically their Frankenstein monster, or what they perceive to be their Frankenstein monster, is turning on their creator. I'm not saying black people are Frankenstein monsters, I'm saying, but they created the modern day African American. They created their whole thing, their talking points, what they want them to get mad about, and they think they have them under control, right? So it's like shocking to them, and you can see it too, like from their responses to some of the stuff. If you look on like social media, they're just like blindsided by this. I've been saying from the beginning that this is a work. It's theater, you know, as everything is. But I think this is one of those rare cases where the theater is getting out of their control. It had to have begun as theater because they could shut things down like that right away. They don't have to let it burn out or die out or go on any longer than they want it to, you know? So it was allowed to begin. And I remember at the time, like, I don't know, a month ago when this all started up, it's like letting a wild horse out of the barn and then trying to direct it, you know? No, over here. No, run over there. Run over here. You can't. And I think this is one of those cases where it got away from them. I think we may be seeing an actual legit happening that isn't completely scripted. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to think anything could possibly be organic in any way. But looking at the reaction to this, you know, on social media, obviously this isn't something I discuss with fucking people in the street. I don't even know how you go about doing that. But looking at the reaction to it, they seem fucking like they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do, you know? It's fucking great. It's fucking great. And they're, of course, trying to clog up the fucking media with all this other dumb shit. You know, when people control your media, it's kind of tough because it's magic, really. I mean, it's spellcraft, you know. It's magic. And they can kind of shape the worldview to the public objectively the way they want. You know, things that they deem important will be important. And things that they need to hide on page 5, they're going to hide on page 5. And they've been trying to page 5 this now. But I think they've underestimated the tenacity of Black Americans because they're not fucking having it. And I hope they keep going because they're just going to discover crazier and crazier shit, which is only going to give them more fuel. So when you look at this thing earlier that I found on poll, I mean, like, I know that's how they do things because they have to create the victim mentality thing, right? But what would the point of that be? You know, I think maybe that's just how them, you know, they naturally just do that stuff. Usually sometimes it's control the narrative around something like, you know, the old swastika on the synagogue, you know, the rabbis looking to get something out of it, like maybe extra security at their place or extra money for something. I mean, there's usually a reason behind it. Now maybe this is just to try to put the screws down more on a descent. I don't know. It feels kind of organic. And sometimes, I mean, I get fooled by stuff too, you know, like I'll think something's real and later it's like, how could I have ever thought that was real? But in this case, it started out what I thought was a controlled pressure valve kind of thing. Because they have been getting a lot of negative feedback against them lately. Only because we're coming into a time where things are going bad. And they're orchestrating it themselves. So I think as a way to maybe let some of the steam off, and part of it too, and I always forget, is that part of their thing, their prophecy thing to bring back their Messiah, they have to sacrifice a certain amount of their own people in this whole deal. So maybe what will happen in this case is like, well, you know, we have to let the media guys go, or we have to let the Hollywood guys go, or we'll throw these guys a bone, you know, we'll let them think they had some kind of victory over us somehow. Like, we'll throw them a Weinstein or something, you know. That might have been the initial idea. But this can't, I don't know. Maybe this is all planned, but it doesn't seem like it is, you know. I don't know if you've been following it. It's not as easy to follow because they're trying to bury it. You know, they use this whole Trump coming back to Twitter thing to grab the headlines. And these things are positioned to be that way. There was another YouTuber, was it Florida Marquis? I think it was Florida Marquis. A guy with, he has a couple 100,000 subs, so I don't trust him, of course. But he had a thing about how it's been from the day Biden took office, from the Saturday Biden took office to this past Saturday when Trump was reinstated on Twitter. It's been 666 days. It's like, it's so gay. Like, I'm so tired of it, you know, like all this stuff. I usually don't pay attention to it, but I thought that was funny. And what he's trying to tie together is that Trump and Musk are, what was he calling them? Some kind of biblical designation as far as what their role is in the end times here. And possibly, maybe. Who cares, though? I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like you can't... There has been times when I've got wrapped up in that whole thing, and it doesn't really affect you. I mean, this whole doom porn that you and your family are already dead and don't know it. You can't get sucked into that. You do have control. You do have control of what comes into your bubble and what happens in your bubble. You don't have to engage with any of this stuff out here. You know, you have more control than you think you do. And we're living actually in a good time. Because, I mean, despite whatever happens with this, the golem turning on the master thing here, we're getting to live in a time where we're going to see a lot of great things. We're going to see a lot of beautiful things happen. And for us, those that have divinity and understanding of God, what's at stake, or even an idea about it, there is no doom on the horizon for us. You know, there's always going to be fear porn merchants trying to get their Patreon money. I don't respect that shit at all. I think if you're out here talking about the spiritual war, metaphysical concepts, but you're collecting money, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think much of you. I really don't. Collecting shekels for this kind of thing. This is God's work. You know, you're doing this for a higher purpose. Shouldn't be collecting fucking Patreon money. So that's just how I feel. That's how I feel. But, you know, there are people that will take advantage of stuff like this. And I'm not completely immune from it. Like, I know this is probably going to be my thumbnail. Sometimes I'm not perfect, right? So, you stop over here. I don't like being behind people sometimes. I like to... People weird, like, sometimes, especially with women, like, if there's, like, a good-looking woman or something, I don't like to follow too close behind them, because I'm just, like, I'm scared, you know? Like, I don't like being around women that aren't my wife. Okay, I'll let them go for a while. That's going to be my thumbnail, though. But, yeah, things are so weird with women these days. Like, I can't imagine being a single guy in this kind of atmosphere, this kind of social atmosphere. Oh, I walked on the light. Sorry, everybody. I didn't know. Everybody else is doing it, so I did it. I never should pay attention to what tourists do. They're always going to walk on the light. I know better. I live here. But yeah, I always think I'm making them nervous. You know, because it's, you know, women have to worry about a lot more stuff, like guys, you know, especially with me, like I'm filming out here, you know. I try not to film people, like so I'm always trying to turn the camera away from people and stuff. And the result of that is it ends up looking like fucking Too Much Coffee Man is running a fucking show here. Actually, I am Too Much Coffee Man. I've had fucking way too. I had a Red Bull when I woke up and 2 coffees, so. I used to be a stimulant junkie, though, so. My body still kind of craves that kind of thing. There goes my thumbnail again. You know, that's the one sort of vice I still have, that. And, well, the cigarette's more like a defensive mechanism. It keeps people away from me, you know? Except that if I'm not like a crosswalk, like across the street. That was this morning. I was waiting at the light. And people, like, when you wait at the light to go across, like, you know, everyone will crowd around because they think if they don't stand on the lip of the curb, like, they're not going to make it across the street in time. It's fucking bizarre. These drone people, I don't know. You know, they do weird shit. But, whenever I stand across the street at a crosswalk and I'm smoking, everybody's got to register the complaints. You know, they'll do the cough thing and you'll hear people say, smoking, smoke. But they've come to me. You know, I'm standing there by myself. I'll be there first. And they'll crowd around me and complain. We're outside. You know, people are fucking nuts. And it's hard because, like, I know we're supposed to be doing, you know, those of us that feel like we're working for God in some way. It should be about helping people and lifting people up and trying to help when you can. But a lot of these people are assholes. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard. It's hard because, like, I don't care, you know? It's unfortunate, but it's true. It's time to go into 333. Three. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.